I'm starting to get worried about Black Ops 6, and mainly regarding zombies, but potentially the entirety of the post-launch for the game. And I honestly thought I would not be in this position because this was supposed to be the holy grail of Call of Duty. This is the very first time that a Call of Duty game has ever gotten a 4-year development cycle, and because it's had such a long extended development time, it's meant that our expectations have become so unrealistically high, and to be honest, even if they were to meet all of our expectations, we would probably still feel underwhelmed just because our expectations are so ridiculously high just based on that precedent. However, despite the game having 4 years of development, there are starting to be signs that something is very wrong here, and this quote-unquote 4-year development time may not be as truthful as we once actually thought. I really hope I'm wrong and Treyarch blow it out of the park with both the launch for the game as well as the post-launch, but there are definitely some signs here that things may be slightly off, and that's really concerning me, I'm not going to lie, because I and most of the community, especially the zombies community, have been waiting for this game for so ridiculously long. We've had 2 mediocre zombies experiences in the meantime. It's basically been a 4-year wait since the end of Cold War Zombies. There is so much weight on this game for it to be a smash hit. But here's where the cracks are starting to show. Firstly, there has been a rumor recently, and bear in mind this is just a rumor, however it was specifically reported by Charlie Intel, so whilst it is just a rumor, Charlie Intel are of course a very reliable source. They literally get invited to events, and I doubt they would report on this if it wasn't genuine, but they said that Black Ops 6 has actually taken some Modern Warfare 3 maps that we were supposed to be seeing in Season 6 to instead release in the post-launch content for Black Ops 6. Now, regarding transparency's sake, as long as Treyarch actually announced that Sledgehammer Games helped with these maps, I have no issue with this. And now that we're using a unified Call of Duty HQ, it makes it so easy for maps to transfer between games because it's literally booting from the same game, the same application. That's why we saw Modern Warfare 2 maps then be transferred over to Modern Warfare 3, for example. Now, I'm guessing the reason why it leaked was because potentially they may have never actually announced this. However, we are still months and months away from the post-launch, of course, of Black Ops 6, and we don't know when these maps they've taken from Modern Warfare 3 will actually release. I assume they're probably giving them a 90s makeover, but regardless, we are a while away from them probably releasing. I doubt they're probably going to be in Season 1. I feel like they're going to be later seasons. They're going to focus on Treyarch original content first, most likely, and this is a big problem as well with the Call of Duty HQ. To be honest, I don't really have an issue with them bringing maps over from one game into the other, but I just think they should be present in both games. They could have still released it to Modern Warfare 3 and had it in Black Ops 6 as well, just like they've done with Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, bringing over some of those maps. I think the reason why they didn't was because Activision want this content to seem like it's brand new when we then get it in Black Ops 6, so we're more excited for the post-launch. And of course, we're at the end of Modern Warfare 3's life cycle now, so most people are probably not playing the game, they're just waiting for Black Ops 6, and because of that, Activision probably saw it as more financially beneficial for this content to be saved and released inside of Black Ops 6 instead. But this is definitely where the first cracks are starting to show, because why the hell do Treyarch need to borrow maps from Sledgehammer Games? That just doesn't make any sense to me. Like I said, I have no problem with them actually doing this because I doubt it's even Treyarch's problem. I think this is probably a problem with Activision and mismanagement, and they're probably the ones who mandated this and forced them to do it. And as long as they're transparent about it, I have no issue. But why does a game that's had such a long development cycle need extra content? Why do they not have enough post-launch content planned and ready when they've had such a long time to develop it? In fact, many different developers and stuff like that, when Black Ops 6 was announced, were saying that the game has been getting playtested for 2 whole years and has been practically ready for 2 whole years. So why are they needing to borrow maps? Then Keshav, who actually runs Charlie Intel, came out and said that actually they haven't had a proper 4-year development cycle. Apparently there were major issues in the back end in Treyarch switching to the new Modern Warfare engine, and basically they had to build all of the systems they had in Black Ops games from the ground up once again. Apparently they have run into many different issues, so apparently the first 2 years or so of development was just focused on actually getting all of the systems working on this new engine. I don't know if this new engine is just really hard to develop for, or there's loads of bugs with it, I have no idea. Infinity Ward Poland have worked on it, but basically Treyarch wanted to replicate the Treyarch feel, the Black Ops feel on the Modern Warfare engine, but it took them a while to do so, so actually they've only been building content for the game apparently in the last 2 years. The first 2 years were just focused on getting the systems over, and that's concerning on its own. Then the other concerning piece of information is regarding the fact that, of course, in the 4 years we've been waiting for this game, Treyarch have worked on so much. They've worked on ranked play, which I don't think has been much of a deterrence for the development, because basically ranked play is now unified, and the reason it's coming early for Black Ops 6 is probably only because they've been developing it on the Call of Duty HQ, so they've been building it for all games, so it's a unified system. However, they've worked on Vanguard Zombies and Modern Warfare 3 Zombies in the meantime, and I, especially with Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, was extremely concerned when it was announced. Why on earth are Treyarch working on a Zombies mode in a game that they are not heading just a year before their main game is releasing? Surely it's going to take resources away from Black Ops 6 Zombies itself. I was so worried about this, and honestly, this might actually be the case. This could have actually impacted Black Ops 6's development a lot, the fact they've had to work on these two things. Now, with Vanguard Zombies, I think the reason why that went into development was, A, obviously, Activision have not been treating Sledgehammer games well at all. They made them make Vanguard in like a year and a half or something like that. And both Vanguard and Modern Warfare 3 Zombies only had to be developed by Treyarch because Sledgehammer were given such a short time to put these games together that they didn't have enough time to make their own co-op mode. So it really isn't Sledgehammer's fault, of course. None of this is. None of the developers are at fault for anything I've discussed in this video. It's all entirely on Activision and the upper echelon of management, because originally Sledgehammer Games and Raven Software were working on Call of Duty 2020, a Cold War game, but they fell out. There was development issues, something happened, we're not exactly sure, and Activision forced Treyarch to then step in on the project and force them to turn it into a Black Ops game in a year and a half or something like that. Whilst they were currently working on Black Ops 4's post-launch content, which is probably why the second season passed for Zombies and a lot of Zombies content got cut for that game. Chaos ended up getting halted, and Ether was rushed at the end with very basic cutscenes. A lot of that probably came down to, of course, Black Ops 4 received a lot of criticism, a lot of hate regarding Zombies specifically, because of the blue screens and because of different issues like that, people not gelling with the Chaos story. So probably the fact they were dragged off the project to work on something else, and at the same time, people didn't like Zombies, probably caused Activision to slash their budget a lot. But they then stepped off, worked on Cold War, they rushed it out in a very short time, but overall I think they did very well with that short development cycle, which shows that not always does the longer development cycle mean that you're going to get a better product, because sometimes the developers are too ambitious with a longer development cycle, like we saw with Black Ops 3's campaign. They actually wanted it to be fully open world, but they couldn't execute it, so it got scaled back for release, which is probably why people felt like it dragged a lot, and they couldn't get into the narrative that much because it was quite convoluted. But I don't think that was the main issue, to be honest. I think if the gameplay was funner, people would have been more into it. It was a very long campaign overall, but you can definitely tell it was supposed to be open world but got scaled back, which made it not feel as fun to play. And because Treyarch then had to work on COD 2020, Sledgehammer then had to start working on a brand new game, so then they worked on Vanguard in a short period of time. They were promised that this would be the only time they have to rush out a game. Then they were tasked with making an expansion for Modern Warfare 2, which was going to have a mini campaign based around Las Almas, the Las Almas cartel, and then it was going to feature all of the Modern Warfare 2 remade maps in its DLC as part of this expansion as well. But then Activision basically thought, well, this doesn't justify a full game, so instead they made them to make Modern Warfare 3, turn this expansion into a full game. They made the campaign instead to be centered around Urzikstan and to be centered around Makarov, a higher stakes campaign, and they sold it as Modern Warfare 3, but basically it was just scraped together content, the campaign just featuring Warzone maps with a very bland story being very short, and then the launch was just remakes and remasters from the original Modern Warfare 2. In its post-launch they started adding new maps because they finally had some time to breathe, but they were trying to rush out the game for launch, which is why remakes was the way to go. So yeah, Sledgehammer have been beaten over the head with these very short development cycles, and it sucks as well because I think that a lot of Modern Warfare 2 content actually got held back from Modern Warfare 3. I mean, for example, all of these Modern Warfare 2 original maps that released to Modern Warfare 3, a lot of them were already inside of Warzone, inside of Al Mazrah. They literally just got held back for post-launch just so that they could resell it as a brand new game, even though they already existed, which is absurd. And I'm guessing new maps as well from Modern Warfare 2 probably got held back from Modern Warfare 3. I wouldn't be surprised as well, in a similar way to this report about Black Ops 6 taking Modern Warfare 3 maps, and that's probably why the first couple seasons of Modern Warfare 2 had barely any content. We literally just had Shoot House again and Shipment again in the first season, and the season literally lasted like 3 months. It was one of the worst seasons ever, and like I said, that's probably because a lot of content got held back from Modern Warfare 3. So when leaks started coming out that there was going to be a Modern Warfare 3 literally coming out right after Modern Warfare 2, I was immediately shocked, and I was so mad at Activision because I understood clearly what was happening here. They were reselling content that was originally planned for Modern Warfare 2 as a whole separate game, even though that content already existed in the game in Al Mazrah. It was just absurd, and I am worried that something might be happening with Black Ops 6 again, because it doesn't seem like they have enough maps ready for its post-launch, and they're having to borrow from Modern Warfare 3. But also, there's been rumors that Treyarch are also working on another Black Black Ops game next year, COD 2025, which is apparently going to be some sort of Black Ops 2 sequel. Again, it's a rumor, this is not confirmed, but then we might be seeing a sort of similar problem to what happens with Modern Warfare 2 and 3 back-to-back, where the content is being spaced out across 2 years instead of 1 year. So maybe the reason why Treyarch don't have enough content ready for Black Ops 6's post-launch and they're having to borrow from Modern Warfare 3 is because of the fact that maybe they did have enough maps planned for its post-launch, but now they're having to think in their head, wait, we need to save some of this content for COD 2025 because there's no way we're going to get that game ready in time. And honestly, I think that's what's happening here. And I think, again, we're seeing a similar situation where remakes that are already existing inside of the Warzone experience are being saved for COD 2025, because we're seeing Verdansk, of course, next year in spring 2025, but we were supposed to be seeing a new Treyarch-developed Warzone map this year, Avalon, which is very similar to the original Black Ops map. It's a huge map, and it features an absolute boatload of remakes as well as new maps, and a lot of the multiplayer maps we're already seeing inside of Black Ops 6 are part of this map. However, because it's being saved for next year, I think a lot of the remade sections that are in there are actually going to be saved for Black Ops 7, so I think whilst we will see probably some remakes in the post-launch, I think a lot of them are going to be held back for next year. So basically, we're going to be seeing all this content that's been developed for Black Ops 6 instead spaced out over 2 years like we've seen with Modern Warfare 2 and 3. So basically, Activision are screwing Treyarch over once again. Whilst yes, they have had a 4-year development cycle, apparently they struggled at the start to get Black Ops systems over to the new Modern Warfare engine, so that caused some problems. Then they have also had to work on other projects like Vanguard Zombies and Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, which has probably taken development resources away from working on Black Ops 6 Zombies. Whilst yes, they were probably smaller teams, it still would have impacted Black Ops 6 in some way, shape or form, because even if it is a smaller team, that content could have still been used inside of Black Ops 6 instead. And like I said, with Vanguard Zombies, I think Treyarch just developed it because they were trying to get the zombie systems working on the new Modern Warfare engine. That's probably why it didn't have a pause at the start of the game, because they literally just couldn't get it to work on this new engine because apparently it's hard to develop for. So maybe that's why Vanguard Zombies went into development, just a smaller project to test out features to get them ready for Black Ops 6. Things like getting high rounds working, etc. That probably all had to be built from the ground up once again. So Vanguard Zombies is not as big of a problem. It probably actually aided Black Ops 6 Zombies development in the sense that it was allowing them to test features on this new engine. However, with Modern Warfare 3, it clearly required a lot more development than Vanguard Zombies, and of course we know other studios like High Moon and Sledgehammer worked on it, but I think it still required substantial development resources from Treyarch, and I think that's definitely impacted Black Ops 6 Zombies. Honestly, what I think was initially going to happen is Black Ops 6 Zombies was initially going to be round-based as well as Outbreak, and I think at some point in development, because they were then forced to work on Modern Warfare 3 Zombies instead, which is similar to Outbreak, an open world experience, but instead you're on a time limit and it's DMZ basically, I think because of that, Outbreak got cut for this game, and they just focused on Modern Warfare 3 Zombies instead because it is so similar, and as a result, that Outbreak content probably got cancelled or reworked into round-based experiences, because if you look at Liberty Falls, the very open layout of it, the way that you can traverse between the buildings with zip wires, etc., grapples, it does seem like an Outbreak map, even aesthetically, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was planned to be at some point in time, especially because the intel in Cold War Zombies talked about Richtofen wanting to build a wall around the map, so that could have been the entire Outbreak zone, replacing sort of the incursion, and there's no wall on the map, so maybe Outbreak was planned, and if so, that's definitely impacted the development of this game. And the fact that Treyarch had to step off of Modern Warfare Zombies just a couple months after release so they couldn't continue the post-launch support efficiently shows that Black Ops 6 was not so far ahead in development like we once thought, because if they required the extra dev power that was going into Modern Warfare Zombies, they were clearly behind on schedule and needed to chase up, because I'm guessing when they planned the post-launch of Modern Warfare Zombies, they probably intended to keep up with updates throughout its entire post-launch, but things had to be cut short because Black Ops 6 needed to be wrapped up. And also, Microsoft have been laying off developers non-stop. For all of the studios, there's been more layoffs recently, and it's been happening continuously since the merger. So I'm guessing this is what has impacted a lot of the development as well, probably the development of Black Ops 6, as well as Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. Maybe that is why they had to cut development short, because they were so low on developers. The ones they thought could just stay on Modern Warfare Zombies post-launch had to be pulled over to the more important Black Ops 6. Because at the end of the day, Modern Warfare had already received all of the sales at launch, so now they need to get people enticed for the next game. They need to deliver something that that it at least gets the initial sales in, which seems to be the common theme every single year. They care more about getting those initial sales in. If things start to go wrong post-launch, or if they need extra help with future Call of Duty games, priorities then shift to getting those future games ready, because the initial launch sales are, of course, where they make the most of their money. Well, I guess microtransactions are, but at least in terms of the physical sales, they get the most sales, of course, at the launches. Now, with COD 2025, Treyarch are apparently working on round-based and Outbreak again. Outbreak will be on this apparent new Warzone map, Avalon, that was supposed to release this year, so maybe they're going to do what they wanted this year instead in that game. But again, this is where Black Ops 6 is getting screwed, not just for multiplayer, but also zombies, because if Treyarch are working on zombies again for next year, for round-based as well as Outbreak, again, I think we're going to see content that was originally planned for Black Ops 6 zombies held back for that other game, because there has been a leak that we're only going to be seeing 4 maps in its post-launch. 4 maps have even been found in the files of the game, some of which are already locations in Liberty Falls. Now, whilst 4 zombies maps in the DLC is exactly what we're used to and what we've always expected, the fact they have had 4 years of development made people think, you know, surely we're going to get a map every single season, because they have had so long to goddamn work on this game, and maybe they wanted to do a map per season, but now they have to work on COD 2025 zombies instead. So if they release too much for Black Ops 6, well, they need to have content ready for Black Ops 7 as well. So this causes a problem here, so I wouldn't be surprised if some maps end up getting held back for Black Ops 7 instead. To be honest, I'm completely fine with just seeing 4 maps in its post-launch as long as the maps are good, but like I said, I feel like honestly, with this long development time, people were expecting more than this, definitely, and maybe that's our fault for expecting too much, but I don't think it's really our fault. When we hear 4-year development cycle, we think we're going to get more than we've ever gotten before, and when it seems like we're just getting basically the same as always, not any more, not any less, just the standard experience, it does make it sound like maybe a lot of that content is instead being held back for Black Ops 7. And the last thing I want to mention regarding the fact that there are signs and cracks that Black Ops 6 might be going a bit wrong is the fact that multiplayer is only seeing small and medium maps. Well, they're not even medium, even the medium ones are small. There's going to be no larger maps in the game. Now, of course, people enjoy the smaller maps more. You know, people have just been playing Shoot the Ship, people have just been playing Shooter House, Shipment, Nuketown. These are the maps they play the most, so maybe their data is suggesting they need to do smaller maps because people basically just use them to grind camos and stuff like that. But it's unheard of that we have no larger maps in the game. And again, with a 4-year development cycle, surely Treyarch would have been able to make some larger maps for us too, because obviously the larger maps take more to develop. So it's really weird that we're just seeing small experiences in multiplayer. Now, I don't think this is necessarily bad. I know some people do. However, like I said, with 4 years of development, you would expect more than just small maps. Now, of course, people do like probably the medium maps the best, and then they like the small ones as well. So I understand why they've done this, but they could still have a few larger ones sprinkled in for map variety, and there's none of that. So once again, I feel like, you know, some of that content might be getting held back for COD 2025, because if we think about it, Avalon has a bunch of maps on there, and I'm sure there's some larger ones as well, and I'm sure that they want to do some ground war or some fire team experiences as well, like we had in Black Ops Cold War, which has been hinted it might be coming in its post-launch. I'm not exactly sure, but maybe instead that's going to be saved for COD 2025. So that's another worry. So in summary, I'm definitely worried about Black Ops 6. There's a lot of concerning things here. They've had 4 years of development, but apparently they had issues bringing Black Ops features over to the new Modern Warfare engine. They've had to work on Vanguard Zombies, Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, which has probably impacted Black Ops 6's development. They've had to borrow maps from Modern Warfare 3 because apparently they don't have enough maps planned in its post-launch. There's only 4 Zombies maps apparently in its post-launch. This could be an incorrect leak, of course, but surely that's more than we should be getting considering the long development time, and considering we're only getting 2 maps on launch, and considering no bonus modes like Onslaught have been announced for launch. Maybe they will, but as far as we're aware, nothing's been announced yet. So surely there's room for more here, or at least we're expecting more. We know Treyarch are working on COD 2025, so not only are they going to have to be working on another multiplayer, they're also going to be having to work on another Zombies, which apparently has round-based and Outbreak, so it means content for both multiplayer and Zombies might be getting held back for that other year, and the multiplayer just has small and medium maps. 4 years of development time, we should be expecting more. Clearly, things have not gone as smoothly in these 4 years as we thought, and yeah, I am very worried, and yeah, I really don't know what to think. I think Zombies will be good this year. I think Zombies will even be good next year with COD 2025. However, I feel like content-wise, it might be spread thin across the 2 different games, and we deserve better after waiting for this game for so goddamn long. Now, I don't want this video to just be an alarming video, you know, something to spur up hatred or anything like that. It's just that I am genuinely very concerned. Like I said, our expectations have never been higher due to the long development time, so if they're not even coming close to our expectations, it's gonna mean that we're gonna be even more disappointed than usual. I've tried to keep my expectations lower because I've seen us getting burnt in past years, but even given that it's hard not to get wrapped up in the marketing cycle. I really hope I'm getting worried for nothing and the post-launch blows it out of the park, but from all of the evidence we're seeing right now, I think COD 2025 is throwing a spanner in the works. I think basically, if that wasn't going into development, we would have had enough content this year. And also, the reason why COD 2025 is apparently going to be another Black Ops game is basically Infinity Ward's fault. What is wrong with this goddamn studio? There's been rumors that apparently Infinity Ward have actually halted production on Modern Warfare 4. They're stuck. They don't know what to do. There's been conflicting interest in where they want the narrative to go. They don't really know where to go next. Of course, Modern Warfare 2 was very poorly received as well as Modern Warfare 3. So narratively speaking, they're at a standstill. Gameplay-wise, they're at a standstill because probably there's conflict in Infinity Ward between people that want a more classic Call of Duty with red dots on the minimap, etc. Then there's people that want this more tactical style of Modern Warfare. And I assume there's some inner conflict going on in the studio. And because they don't have Modern Warfare 4 ready, that's why there's another Black Ops game coming next year. And then we're going to see Modern Warfare 4 or whatever it's called, the next Infinity Ward game in 2026. And I don't know what Sledgehammer are even doing. They're probably just helping with CODs. I don't think their next game's even gone into development. Maybe that's why they've been able to have so much post-launch content from Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer. A, because of course the launch was just remake, so it's easier to then get, you know, fresh content ready for post-launch, and probably because they're not working on the next game yet, it's allowed them more time to work on that. But I hope that whatever their next game is, whether they finally get to do an Advanced Warfare sequel or whatever, that they get enough development time because they deserve it. And yeah, whilst COD 2024, this year Black Ops 6 has had a long development cycle, it doesn't seem as clean as we once thought it was going to be, and there's lots of things that have basically messed that up, which is really unfortunate. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not here for the latest and greatest Call of Duty news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.